Hello everyone, welcome to this session. I just solved this NEET test 90 and here I am with the analysis of the physics section. Though I've rated only one question as tough, but easy were also less, 16, and medium questions were 28, and these three questions I feel the answers are not right given there. Options are right, but that means the answer that I am getting is there in the option, but they have selected the wrong one. So looking at the paper, so it's not a tough, not an easy, you can say it's a this is what the level of the paper of the NEET should be around. The questions are not that easy, but they are not very tough, though I would rate it too tough because of this Moseley's law that is being applied, which you don't generally study. So that was today's paper. Let's see what it is in it. Also the score, so let's say 16 questions were easy, and let's say I take half of the medium, 16 plus 430 questions, that means 120 should be the score at least for anyone who is looking for something in physics, and those who are very good should get 160 in this sort of paper, or 155 plus you can say. First question: the electron in a hydrogen atom makes a transition from n equals to n1 to n equals to n2 state. Time period of the electron in the initial state is 8 times the final state. The possible values of n1 and n2 are. So here you know time period is 2 pi r by v, that is proportional to r by v. R is proportional to n square by z, v is proportional to z by n. So time period is proportional to n cube by z square. So here z is same, so I can directly say T in n1 to T in n2 is n1 upon n2 whole cube, which is given as 8, which implies n1 is directly equals to twice of n2. Now looking at all the options, only B is the correct. n1 is twice of n2 is satisfied only by B. Next, you have the wavelength of k alpha X-rays of two metals A and B are this and this, where R is Rydberg constant, the number of elements lying between A and B according to their atomic number. For k alpha, you know root nu is equal to root of 3 Rc by 4 into z minus 1. So if I convert it, what I can get, nu is equal to, what I can say, 3 Rc by 4 into z minus 1 whole square. Now nu, what you know, is equal to c by lambda, that is 3 Rc by 4 z minus 1 whole square. So 1 by lambda is 3r by 4 z minus 1 whole square. This is the Moseley's law. Now apply here. For A, 1 by lambda comes out as 1875 r by 4, that is 3 r by 4 into za minus 1 whole square. So here what you will do, 4 and 4 goes, if I divide it by 3, this comes out as 625 is equal to za minus 1 whole square. So that implies za minus 1 is 25 or za is 26. Similarly, for the second one, what you will have, 675r is equal to 3r by 4 into zb minus 1 whole square. So doing this 3, this 2 to 5 into 4, that is 900 is zb minus 1 whole square, which implies zb minus 1 is 30 or zb is equal to 31. So between 26 and 31 you have 27, 28, 29, 30. So 4 elements will be there. So go for option D here. Next, you have two blocks of masses 10 kg, 4 kg connected by a spring of negligible mass placed on a frictionless horizontal surface. Impulse gives a velocity of 14 to the heavier block in the direction of the lighter block. The velocity of the CMS. So that means lighter speed is, this moment is 0. So VCM you can directly give, that is 14 into 10, the heavier one upon 10 plus 4, 14, that is 10 meter per second. That is option C here. Next, a bomb traveling in a parabolic path under gravity explodes in midair. The center of fragments will move. Again, because it is due to the internal forces, the CM's acceleration will remain the same. It would be g downwards. So it would be g downwards. So it will go on the same trajectory as it was going before. So the center of mass will move in the parabolic path as the unexploded bomb would have traveled. You can directly do this. Next, the maximum and minimum tension, the string whirling in a vertical circle of the radius 2.5 meter with constant speed are 5:3, then velocity is. So with constant speed it is given and it is a vertical circle. So first of all, whenever we say, wait a minute, let me draw it by my hand only. Okay, wait a minute. Okay. So if I draw it like this, so what I know, at the lowest point tension acts up, mg acts down, at the highest point both acts down. So at the highest point or the lowest point, first of all, that would be Tmax. So Tmax would be equal to mg plus mv square by r, and Tmin here is equal to mv square by r minus mg, because you will write T plus mg equal to mv square by r. So this ratio is 5:3. So what we have, mg, and radius is also given. So mg plus mv square by r upon upon mv square by r minus mg is 5/3. So this mm you can directly cancel up. So 3g plus 3v square by r is 5v square by r minus 5g. So what we have, 8g is equal to 2v square by r, or v is equal to root 4gr. So v is root 4gr. Root 4gr means 4 into 2.5 into 9.8, that is 98 root. This is coming out as the answer. So go for option A. So this is going to be the answer here, option A. Next, you have two bar magnets, same mass, same length, same breadth, but moment m into m and 3m joined together pole for pole and suspended by a magnet. Time period in assembly of field strength 1 Henry. 1 Henry is 3 seconds. If now the polarity of one of the magnet is reversed and the combination is again made to oscillate, the time period will be. So the formula for time period is 2 pi under root I upon mb that we write. So I and b in both cases will be same. So what we can say, t1 upon t2 would be under root of m2 upon m1. Now in the first case they were in the sum position, so it was m1 plus m2, and in the second position it would be m1 minus m2, or the difference of m1 minus m2. So t1 is given as 3 seconds, t2 I have to find, m1 minus m2 is 2, and m1 plus m2 would be 4, so it is 1 by root 2, 3 upon t2, so t2 is 3 root 3 seconds you will write. So as per this, option B is the most, not B, sorry, it is 3 root 3, this is 3 root 2, that is D, option is right. Next, you have a resistor of resistance 20 ohm and 30 ohm joined in series with a battery of 3 volt. It is desired to measure current and voltage across a 20 ohm resistor with the help of an ammeter and voltmeter. Identify the correct arrangement of ammeter and voltmeter out of 4 possible one. So for 20 you have to measure, so that would be in series, ammeter and voltmeter would be across 20, so it is wrong, that is definitely wrong. This is also wrong, this is not going to measure, and this one is the most appropriate one, go for the C option. Next, that was an easy one for you. In the above circuit diagram, EMF of the two batteries are equal, okay. Then the potential difference VA minus VB between terminals A and B will be VA minus VB. So how you will do, this is 3 ampere, this is 2 ampere, and here goes 7 ampere. So 5 is coming, so it would be 2 ampere, 6 is here is coming, so that is 8 ampere, 2 goes here, so it would be 4 ampere going there. Now VA minus VB you have to do, so that go from B to A and write the potential changes. When I go from here to here, I'll write minus E. When I go from here to here, I'll write minus 16, because I'm going in the direction of current, potential decreases, again minus 12, and again minus 8, 2 into 4, and this would be plus E. So this E and E goes, this is 16 and 12, 28, 28 and 8, 36. So VA minus VB will be minus 36. A is at lower potential, so our answer is going to be option A. Next, in the region of space, the electric field is given by this: the electric flux through a surface of area 100 units in the xy plane. If area is in the xy plane, that means the area vector I can write as 100 units xy plane, so it would be k cap. Area vector is normal to the surface, so flux is simply E dot A. So only the z component will be effective, so it would be 300 units in this particular case. Go for option B. Next, two identical parallel plate capacitors placed in series and connected to a constant voltage source of V volt. So they are in series. One is completely immersed in a liquid of constant K, then the potential difference between the plates of the other capacitor will change too. So now, initially they were the same, but now what we have, C1 becomes K times C naught, C2 becomes C naught. So now the potential across two. In series what we have, charge is same, so voltage is inverse to C, so I can write it as C1 upon C1 plus C2 times total EMF V. So C1 is K C naught upon this will become K plus 1 C naught into V. So answer would be K upon K plus 1 times V on the other one. Next, the value of inductance L for which the current is maximum in the LCR circuit. So it is maximum at resonance frequency. So omega naught equals 1 by root LC. So L is 1 upon omega naught square C. So 1 upon 10 to the power C is 6 and C is 10 micro, that is 10 into 10 raised to the power minus 6. So it comes out as 0.1 Henry. So 0.1 Henry means 100 millihenry you can write. Next one. The loop ABCD is moving with velocity V towards the right. The magnetic field is 2 Tesla. Loop is connected to a resistance of 9. If the steady current of 2 ampere is flowing, then the value of V if the loop has a resistance of 4 ohms. So the effective length that would be producing the EMF would be like this. So this is the length that we are talking about. So what we need to find out? We need to find out the V. So what is going to be V here? So this is a loop. So if I do this, the lengths I need to, we need to find out the velocity if we are given the length. I don't think we are given the length here. If I'm missing it something, let me check. So no length value is given. Okay, given. AD is 30 centimeter now. So EMF would be BV and this length won't be effective. This length would be effective, which is L sin theta. So BVL sin 30, this is EMF, this is BB is what we have 2. We are searching for length is 30. 30 means 0.3, sin 30 means 1 by 2. So it is 0.3V. And what we know, current would be equals to E upon total resistance. So 9 and 4, 13, that is equals to 2. So EMF is 26 volt. So 26 is 0.3 times V. So V comes out as 26 upon 0.3 or 260 by 3, which comes out as this is 8, 24, 20 would be 86. So it would be 86.7 is the most appropriate. I can make it out. Go for option A. Next. Suppose the gravity varies as nth power inverse of distance in the time period of the planet is circular orbit of r about the sun is. Again, it's a very standard question. You know it is r into plus 1 by 2. How you do this? Let's say force becomes k upon r to the power n. That becomes m omega square r. So omega square is 1 upon r to the power n plus 1, or omega is proportional to 1 upon r to the power n plus 1 by 2. T is inverse to omega, so proportional to r to the power n plus 1 by 2. So go by option A. Next. The ratio of the binding energy of a satellite at rest on Earth's surface to the binding energy of a satellite of same mass revolving around the Earth at a height h above the Earth's surface is going to be. So because it is given as satellite and you are given it is at rest. So at rest, so its energy in the first case is only the potential energy, which is minus gmm by r. In the second case, when it is at a height above, it is a satellite, so it would be minus gmm by 2r. 2r here will be r plus h. So what would be the ratio here? So the ratio E1 by E2 would be 2 times r plus h upon r. That is what you are going to write. So I'll go for option A. They have given wrong answer here because it is given at rest, so its speed won't be gmm by 2r. So here option A will be the answer. Next. Two plates identical in size, one of black and rough surface, other smooth and polished, are interconnected by a thin horizontal pipe with mercury pallet at the center. Two more plates, A1 which is identical to A2 and B2 identical to B1, are heated to the same temperature and placed close to the plates B1 and A2 as shown. The mercury pallet will. Now, what this mercury pallet is going to do, so here you have, it will emit better because it is rough and black, but it will absorb less. It will emit less, but it will absorb more. So overall what we can make out, that because of this identicity of the arrangement, what we see, the effective heats that will be received at these two plates will almost be same. So the pallet is not going to shift anywhere, it is going to remain stationary. Next, a Carnot engine having an efficiency of a heat engine 1 by 10 is used as a refrigerator. If the work done on the system is 10 joule, the amount of energy absorbed from the reservoir at a lower temperature is. So it is working as 1 by 10. So what I can make out is that the ratio of QC by QH will still be equals to 1 minus 1 by 10. Sorry, efficiency, you know, Let me first write it properly. Efficiency is 1 minus QC by QH, which here is 1 by 10. That means QC by QH will still be in the ratio 9 by 10. Now in a refrigerator, we know the work done is equal to QH minus work done on the system is QH minus QC, and what we have, the amount of energy absorbed from the system. So W is QH minus QC, and from here what I can make it out, this lower temperature I have to find, so QH I can write as 10 by 9 of QC. So this is given as 10, so 10 is equal to what we can make it out, QC by 9. So QC is 90 joule for this, so go for option B here. Next, two containers in the equal volume contain same gas at P1, P2, T1, T2 respectively. On joining the vessel, the gas reaches a common pressure P and T. The ratio P by T is again a very famous question. What you will say, the total moles is going to remain same. Initially moles were P1V upon RT1 plus P2V upon RT2. Final moles will be P common V1 plus V2 upon RT, because we will treat it as a single vessel. So not P, sorry, R goes, P will remain, V and V1 plus V2, that it's better I should have written it straight away 2V. So V goes. So P1 upon T1 plus P2 upon T2 divided by 2 will give you P by T. This is going to be your answer. So as per this is the option D that you can write. Next, a long rigid wire lies along the x-axis and carries a current of 10 ampere in the positive x. Round the wire, the external field is like this with x in meter, b in Tesla. The magnetic force on the segment of the wire between x equal to 1 and x equal to 4. So it is lies along the x-axis like this and carrying a current. For the segment from x equal to 1 to x equal to 4, carrying current here 10 ampere, the forces. So force you know as BIL. So what I can write as BIL. So what you need the force component which is perpendicular to the field component perpendicular to the wire, and perpendicular to the wire component is 2x square j cap. So what I can write, this the value, the force by B is 2x square, I is given as 10. Let's say go at any x and take it as dx. So on this dx I am writing this df. So this is 2x square 10 dx. So this is 20x square dx. Take the limit from 1 to 4, 20 comes out, x cube by 3, that is 4 cube minus 1 cube by 3, that is 63 by 3. So 63 by 3 is 21, 21 into 20 comes out as 420 Newton. Your units basically you can say, so that is 420 units here. Next, the magnetic induction at the center of a circular loop carrying a current is B if A be the area the magnetic dipole moment is. So at the center, the B we write as mu naught Ni by 2R, and the value of the magnetic moment is Ni into A, which you call as pi r square. So what we need, the value Ni into A, pi r square, or NIA you can directly write. So in terms of area, what I can write, Ni can be written as 2R B upon mu naught times A. And what is this R? So what I can say, this pi r square is equal to A, so R is equal to A by pi under root. So 2b A by mu naught we had, and R I can write as A upon pi under root. So what we are left with now, we are left with option D, that is the appropriate one for me. Next, a rifle bullet loses 1 by 20 of its velocity in passing through a plank. The least number of such planks needed will be to stop it. So again a standard question. First of all, work done by a single plank. Work done by a single plank we can write as magnitude, we can say negative it was. So half m v square, 120 loses, that it becomes 19 v by 20 whole square. So what we have, half m v square, and this becomes 20 square minus 19 square. So 400 minus the 19 square, what you write as 19 into 19, that is 19, 20 is 380, 380 is 361. So it is 361 by 400. So this much fraction is lost by 1 of energy. So to become it complete lose, this 361 into 400 multiplied by n must be equals to 1. So n must be 400 by what we have, sorry, 400 minus 361 it was, I am doing it wrong, it should be 39. It would be 39. So it is 400 upon 39. So it comes out as 10 point something. So we need 11 planks to completely stop, because in 10 it won't completely stop. Next, you have a chain of length L and mass m placed upon a smooth surface. The length of BA is L minus B. Okay. Now the chain is released and slide down. Calculate the speed of the chain when its end reaches B. So when its end reaches B, what we not take this reference energy to be 0. So initially what we have, this part at Cm would be there. So initial energy would be the mass lying down, first of all negative, minus m by L into B is the mass into G, and the height would be, this height is going to be B by 2 sine theta. You can make it out like this. So it is minus m by L G to L, I can write B square sine theta. And similarly, when finally the complete L length will come here, so Cm will be at L by 2, so I can directly make it out. No need to draw this. You are smart enough to directly write. Instead of B, put as L, so minus 2 by m by 2L G into L square sine theta, you can directly put it. So what would be the speed of the chain? Directly I can say delta U loss is equal to delta K gain. So loss I am writing, so initial minus final I will write, so it will become m by 2L G sine theta taken as common. It becomes L square minus B square. Delta K gain would be half complete mass m into V square. So what we have, m and m goes, 2 and 2 goes, so V comes out as G sine theta into L square minus B square by L. So going by this is the first option that is coming out to be the most appropriate one. If I can, again the answer given by NTA is not right in this case. They have taken acceleration to be constant, which is not going to remain constant because this downward force is consistently changing. Next, you have two weights suspended from the ends of a light string passing over a smooth fixed pulley W1 and W2. If the pulley is pulled up with an acceleration G, the tension in the string will be okay. So what we have on the light passing over a smooth fixed pulley, this is smooth fixed pulley, and this is you have two weights W1 and W2 like this. Let's say W1, W2. Now the pulley is pulled up with an acceleration G. So pulley is going upward with an acceleration G, the tension in the string will be. So it's better in this case, what I can do, see it in frame of pulley. So if again I go in the frame of pulley, what I will have pseudo forces. So because of this pseudo force thing, this will become effectively 2W1, and this will effectively, the downward force will become 2W2. So in frame of this, I always write tension is equal to 2m1 m2g upon m1 plus m2 that we typically write. So in its frame, it will still be 2m1 m2g upon m1 plus m2, but here the g effective will become 2g. So what we can write here, or the better way, if you have any doubt, write it again. Let's say W2 is greater, so it would be A1, A of blocks with respect to, let's say, A0 with respect to the pulley, and it will go, let's say, A0 like this. This is in frame of pulley. So what I will write, 2W2 minus 2W1 would be equal to W1 plus W2 by G, you can write, because that is the mass times A0. So A0 comes like this, twice of W2 minus W1 upon W1 plus W2 into G. And if I write the equation of tension, 2W2 minus T is equal to W2 into A by G, because mg, so T comes out as W2 by G into A, so that is 2 times W2 minus W1 upon what do you have, and this is G here, and it is W1 plus W2, you have it like this, and 2W2 minus T, so T is 2W2 minus this one, so this will be then with a negative sign I can write, and this would be plus 2W2. So if you do this, this will come out as taking 2W2 common, G and G goes, it will be 1 minus W2 minus W1 upon W1 plus W2. So if you do this, this would be 2W1 will be coming only, so it would be 2 into 2, 4W1 W2 upon W1 plus W2, which you can directly do this. So here it would be option A. So again a nice question. Next one. The object is kept on a smooth incline of inclination 1 in L. Okay, this is given inclination 1 in L, that means the sine theta would be equals to 1 by L, you can write. Find the horizontal acceleration that should be imparted to this inclined plane such that the object remains stationary relative to the incline. Now for object to remain stationary with respect to the plane, so let me draw it with respect to the plane. So with respect to plane, let's say plane if goes with acceleration a naught, we need to supply a pseudo force ma naught. This is mg and this is n. So to keep it stationary here, these two forces must balance out, that you all know, that is mg sine of theta is ma naught cos of theta. So this a naught should be g tan of theta. Now sine theta is 1 by l, so tan theta you can write as 1 upon under root of l square minus 1, that you can write up. So what you are left with? You are left with the choice option C here. Next, there are two radioactive substances A and B. Decay constant of B is 2 times that of A. Initially both have equal number of nuclei. After n half-lives of A, the rate of disintegration of both is equal. The value of n is okay. So both have equal number of nuclei initially. So both have, let's say, n naught and n naught. Now decay constant of B is 2 times that of A. That means if it is half-life, if its half-life is T naught, B would be T naught by 2. You can make out because it will decay at 2 times the rate. So after n half-lives, it will become n naught upon, what I can say, 2 by n, and it will become n naught upon 2 to the power 2n, because its 2 half-lives have crossed. Now the rate of disintegration of both is equal. Rate is equal. Now rate is known as lambda times n naught. So if it is T naught, let's say if I write it as lambda naught, it would be twice of lambda naught because of that reverse relation. So lambda naught into n naught by 2 to the power n is 2 lambda naught into n naught upon 2 to the power 2n. So this goes, this goes, this goes. So what we are left with, 2 to the power 2n minus n is equal to 2 to the power 1. So 2n minus n is equal to 1. So n is equal to, what we have, n is equal to 1 we are getting here. So it will be option C. So it would be option C1. Next, a decay chain of nucleus 23892 involves 8 alpha and 6 beta. So 8 alpha, we know the mass number changes only because of alpha. So mass number A nu would be 238 minus 8 into 4, because 1 alpha changes it by 4. So that is 238 minus 32, that is 206. So A is going to be 206. Now for Z, because of 8 alpha decay, there will be decrease in it. So I can write it as 92 minus 8 into 2, but because of 6, it will increase by plus 6 into 1. So it is 92 minus 16 plus 6, that is 92 minus 10, that is 82. So go for option C, 82 and 206. That is going to be your answer. That's an easy one. Next, the ratio of displacement to amplitude when the kinetic energy of the body executing SHM is thrice the potential energy. So K is 3 times U. You know is half m omega square a square minus x square. This is half m omega square x square and 3 times. So this half m omega square terms goes. So a square minus x square is 3x square. So 4x square is equal to a square. So x is equal to a by 2. So the ratio of x by a, you can directly make it out at this point, is equals to 1 by 2. Next, pendulum is of a small sphere mass m suspended by an inextensible massless string length L made to swing in a vertical plane. If the breaking strength is 2 mg, then the maximum angular amplitude will be. So if maximum angular amplitude is theta naught, Vmax you write is equal to root of 2gl 1 minus cos theta naught. You remember that standard figure. And Tmax at lowest point is mg plus mvmax square by L, that should be less than equal to 2 mg. So mg plus this will become 2 mg 1 minus cos theta max should be less than equal to 2 mg. So mg goes. So 2 minus 2 cos theta max is less than equal to 1. So 2 cos theta max should be greater than equals to what we have 1. So cos theta max should be greater than equal to 1. That means theta max should be less than equals to what, 1 by 2. So theta max should be less than equal to 60 degree. You can make it out because as theta increases, cos theta decreases. Next, number of photons falling per second on a completely darkened plate to produce a force of this is n. If the wavelength of light is then n is equal to, completely dark means it will absorb. So I can directly write that the radiation pressure would be I by C. So the force is going to be IA by C, you can write. So number of photons to produce this is n. If you are given the area or not, you are basically not given the area, I can make it out. So let me try it. So force is IA by C. So number of photons falling per second on a completely dark plate. Okay, but no issue, because what we have, this is the pressure what I talk out. Intensity is what you have, that is energy falling per unit area per unit time, that is energy falling per unit area per unit time into area. So I can directly go for area thing. So I can write it energy per unit time. Energy per unit time is number of photons per unit time, that by hc by lambda by c. So it is nh by lambda. So the number of photons that we will have is n would be equal to f lambda by h. So what is f? 6.62 into 10 raised to power minus 5. Lambda is 5 into 10 raised to power minus 7 upon h. H is 6.62. You can write this is given 10 to the power minus 34. This goes. It is 5 into 12 and 34 and 12, that is 10 to the power 22. So going by this would be 5 into 10 to the power 22. Calculation is simplified for you, you can do that. Next, the energy flux of sunlight reaching the surface of earth is this. Number of photons per square meter are incident on the earth per second is. So again it's a similar thing. Number of photons per square meter are incident on the earth per second is going to be. Now, so total energy flux you are given, and number of photons per square meter that are incident on the earth per second is going. You can directly say that the energy falling per unit area per unit time would be number of photons falling per unit area per unit time into energy of one photon, which is hc by lambda, which is 1.388 into 10 to the power 3. So n would be 1.388 into 10 raised to the power 3. Lambda, if I SI units I'll adopt, 10 to the power minus 9. And hc is 6.63 into 10 raised to the power minus 34 into 3 into 10 to the power 8. So let me check the powers first. This will become positive 37, 34 and 3, and this is 17 negative. So 37 and 17, 10 to the power 20 into 550 into 1.388 and 6.63 into 3, approximately 20 you will get. So cancelling this 0. So what we are left with, this is 55 by 2 into 1.388. So it is 27.5 into 1.388, what we can make it out here, or let me do if I have calculated. So it comes out as 3.8 into 10 to the power 21 approximately. That is going to be the answer. So looking at it, it would be option A. Next, the pressure inside two soap bubble is 1.01 and 1.02 atm respectively. The ratio of their respective volumes is. What we know, the excess pressure that we talk about in a bubble is 4s by r. So here delta P1 upon delta P2, that is 0.01 upon 0.02 would be equals to what I can say, R2 by R1. So R2 by R1 is 1 by 2. So the ratio of their volumes would be, the ratio of volume V1 by V2 you say would be R1 by R2 whole cube. So that is 8:1. So again an easy one, go for option A here. Next, capillary of tube R is immersed in water and water rise to a height h. Mass of water in the capillary is m. If the capillary of radius 2r is taken and dipped in water, the mass of water that will rise in the capillary tube will be, okay. So what would be the mass that will rise here? So what we know, this h is inverse to r, that you know. So if the radius is doubled, height will become half. So in the first case, the volume that is risen up is pi r square into h. In the second, it would be pi into 2r square into h by 2. But still it is going to be 2 pi r square h. That means double the volume has risen up, therefore the mass will be doubled. So double the mass will rise up. But remember one thing, the mass which goes up, the potential energy will still remain the same, because here the mass is doubled but height is half, so that mgh product is going to remain the same. That is also one of the question asked usually in exams. Next, your lens of focal length f1, aperture diameter d forms an image of intensity I. Now the central part of the aperture up to diameter d by t2 is blocked. The focal length will remain the same, because every part forms image independently. Focal length still remain f, so it will remain f, but intensity will reduce. How much it reduce? Intensity is proportional to effective area. So now this was the aperture and this d by 2 is blocked. So now effective area remaining would be pi d square by 4 minus d by 2 whole square by 4. You can make it out. So that is pi d square by 4. I can take it as common, that is the complete area. That 1 minus 1 by 4, that is 3/4 of original area. So area remains 3/4, so intensity becomes 3/4. So we'll go for option D. That's a very common question. You must have seen such. Plano concave lens made up of a glass of refractive index 1.5, radius of curvature of its curved surface is 100, the power of the lenses. Now plano concave means like this. So what I will write, 1 upon f is 1.5 minus 1, 1 upon infinity minus 1 upon 100 I can write. So it comes out as minus 1 by 200. So focal length is minus 200 centimeter. So power would be 100 by f, that is 100 upon minus 200, that is minus 1 by 2 diopters. Go for option B now. Next one. The MI of a rod about an axis through its center perpendicular to its ml square by 12. You all know the rod is bent in the middle so that the two half makes an angle of 60 degree. The MI of the bent rod about the same axis would be. So about the same axis would be. Now there is something here confusing about this question is one way is like this. This was the rod and this is the axis. If this is the axis and you bend it like this, still treat these two parts as independent rods and this is hinged about one of its end. So this photo and this photo doesn't make any difference. So the MI of the two parts about this axis remains the same. So answer would be ml square by 12. But again, if you take this axis perpendicular like this and you bend it like this, then the answer will change. Then effectively the length that would be coming up would be this one. This length is only going to be effective, which you write as L sin 60. So in that case it will become you can say m reduces to what we can say, the length reduces to what we say root 3 by 2, so it becomes 3 by 4 of that. So 3 by 4 means it would be 3 by 48, but that option is not given, so we'll go for only this one. Next. A solid sphere of mass 2 kg is rolling on a frictionless horizontal surface with speed c, collides on the free end of an ideal spring whose other end is fixed. Maximum compression produced in the spring will be. Because the surface is frictionless, what we can say, it collides with the free end of the spring. We'll assume there will be now for me it's slight confusing, because if I assume that the spring is let's say attached like to the central part, then we can say the spring force won't generate any torque. So the kinetic energy, the translational one, will also only be lost. In that case I can write half mv square is equal to half k x max square. So x max will come out in this particular case as root m by k into v, which comes out as 2 by 36 into 6, that is 6 by root of 18. 6 by root of 18 you can write it as root of 36 by 18, that is root 2, which is 1.4 meters in that case. And the answer, they have not given 1.8, they have given root 2.8. They have assumed that the spring will be acting at such a point that V and omega both will become 0, and in that case the energy lost would be half mv square beta. Beta is here is 7 by 5 is half k x max square. So that x max square term will now in that case would be 7m by 5k into v. So that becomes 7 by 5 into this upon v will be outside, that would be 36 by 18 root you can write. So that you can write it as 14 by 5 something, or root of 2.8. So this would be x max here. So as per here the answer is given like this, but still I feel by the language it is given frictionless surface. I'm tempted to go for C here only. Next. In the given circuit, P and Q form the inputs, the output Y is okay. P and Q are the input, what is the output Y? Again I'll say go for the truth table if you are any doubt. So let's say P, Q and output. Let's say 0 and 0, 0, 0. So 0 here, so 0 here. So 1 and 0, 1 and 0, 1 and 0 is 1 here, 0 here, 1 and 0, and end will give me 1. Okay, so this is 1. Next time what I'll do, 0 and 1. So put Q as 1. So if I'll put Q as 1, this is 1 0 is still it will be that upper one is 1, but this becomes 1, so 1 and 1. Here now we will have 1 and 1, so this would be 0. Now the next one, what you will have, now you will have P as 1, Q as 0. So again let me do it and let me rub all this. So now this P is 1, so this is 0, this is 0, 0 and 0 is 0, this is 0 and 1, this is 1, 0 and 1. So again what you will have 0 and 1, this is NAND gate, so it will give us 1. Next, last one, 1 and 1. If I do this 1 and 1, so again what you will do, let me try it. So this is 1, this is 1, so this is 1, this is 1, so it will be 0. So what we are getting here, so it is 1 when Q is 0. It is 1 when Q is 0, so answer would be Q bar. Directly you can make it out. Next, in an NPN transistor circuit, the collector current is 10. The 90% of the emitted electrons reach the collector. The emitter current and the base current is going to be, so 90% reaches, that means alpha is 0.9. So alpha is IC by IE. So the value of IE will come out as 10 upon 0.9. So going by the option, it would be 11, and the base current then would be 11 minus 1 at 10, that is 1 ampere. So go for option D. Again I think this is a repeated one, this has come before some days back. A rod of length L, area A is heated through T, Young's modulus is Y, coefficient of linear expansion is alpha, then the compression force required to prevent the rod from expanding. So you directly know that is a thermal stress thing, that is why A alpha delta T. You all remember that. Directly go for option A, the thermal stress expression. If you don't know, read it again, what is thermal stress. Let x be a square, b square by c be a physical quantity. Okay, the percentage error in A, B, C are this, then the percentage error in the measurement of x is. This is the same question of NEET 2013 that I solved yesterday, so you can see from here also, but I can write it here also. Error in x is twice of delta A by E, twice of delta B by B, plus delta C by C. So it is 2 into 2%, plus 3 into 3%, plus 4%. So this is 4 plus 6 plus 4, so that comes out as 14%. This is option B now. Next one. In a YDAC experiment, the wavelength of red light, blue light, the value of n for which n plus 1th blue bright coincides with nth red fringe. So n plus 1 lambda of blue into d by d is equal to nth of lambda red d by d. You can write it like this. So this n plus 1 by n is lambda red, which is you can say 52, this is 78 what you are getting. So this is, if I do, this is 26, and this one will be 26, and it is and divided by 2 it would be 39. So it would be 2 by 3. So yes, you have got it. Third of the red and the third of the red, it's not going to come like this. This is not going to come like this. This is impossible. I think they have given this a wrong one. It should be, okay, they have not given wrong. I have taken it wrong. I have taken it wrong because I have put the wrong values. So it was good that the answer was reversed. It is basically 78 by 52, and you do this 3 by 2, so n will come out as 2. So I was wrong here, so n should be 2 here. Next, according to Huygens principle, during refraction of light from air to a denser medium, so when it goes into a denser medium, what we say, we know speed is going to decrease, and speed decreases, frequency remains unchanged, so wavelength also decreases, so wavelength and speed both are going to decrease. Now, car is going with 90 kmph, blows a horn of 150 Hz towards a cliff. Frequency of the reflected sound heard by the driver. So you directly know this frequency reflected heard by the source itself would be f0. There will be 2 times Doppler, and the effective would be v plus v car upon v minus v car. I am not doing it again and again. You have done it multiple times. If you have doubt, do the last solved example of your NCERT class 11th of this chapter. So it is 150, 340, 90. 90 into 5 by 18 that you do would be 25. Would be 90 into 5 by 18 would be 25. Yes. So 340 plus 25. This is 365. This is 315. So 150 into 365 upon 315. So at 15 table, this is 10. This is 21. And if it to 21 table or the 3 table, or no, it is not coming. So it is 3650 by 21. So 21 1. And now what you have, this is 155. 155 would be, you can make it as 17 something. So 174 Hertz will come out. This is option D here. Next. Standing wave propagating at a speed of 300 in an open pipe of length 4 meter has 4 nodes. Open pipe has 4 nodes. The frequency of the pipe is, so it has 4 nodes. That means you know the node and 4 nodes, and it would be like this. In the fundamental, you know, it is something like this. you have one node and two NT nodes. So if it is 4 nodes, that means there will be 5 NT nodes, or you can say it would be the fourth mode, so it would be 4 lambda by 12, you can directly write. So frequency would be 4V by 12, sorry, not lambda by 12, 4V by 12 would be the fourth harmonic. So 4 into 300 by 8, so this is 2, this is 150 hertz. You can directly go for the frequency would be 150 hertz in this case. Next, object of 10 kg falls from rest through a vertical distance of 10 and acquires a velocity of this. Work done by the push of the air is, so work done by air would be delta U plus delta K. W external is delta U plus delta K, taking that and earth as a system. So it has fallen 10, so it would be delta U is minus mg into 10 plus half m into v square. So it is minus 10 into 10 into 10 plus half into 10 into 100. So what it would be minus 1000 plus 500, so it work done would be minus 500 joule. That is option B in this particular case. Last, power supplied to the particle goes with time as this. T is in second. The change in its kinetic energy, again we are doing it for so many times. Change in kinetic energy is integration p dt from 2 to 4. I think the same data we have done before. Do it again. 3t square t cube t square plus t from 2 to 4. So 4 cube minus 2 cube minus 4 square minus 2 square plus 4 minus 2 is 2. So 64 minus 8, 56 minus 12 plus 12, 56 minus 12, what you have is 44 plus 4, that is 44 plus 2, sorry, that is going to be 46 joule. In this case, go for option B. So this was today's paper. Thanks for watching. Thank you.